This golf company has been making some of the best, most forgiving drivers money can buy for the last few years now. They're more affordable, they perform just as well as some of the bigger name companies, but no one really seems to be buying them. Introducing the brand new Tour Edge 725 range of drivers. This features two different driver heads. We have the E725 and of course the C725. Now the C725 is a slightly lower spin model. This features the flight tuning system, and you can see we also have that movable weight track at the back, together with a gorgeous carbon crown to allow for the most precise distance possible. The E725 is a slightly more forgiving driver. This is of course a 10k MOI forgiveness driver, very much along the lines of the Ping G430 10k Max and of course the TaylorMade QI10. So two drivers that you could potentially be putting in the bag this year. Which one would you potentially be looking at if you were going to game a Tour Edge Exotics driver? Now, as I said in the introduction, I honestly think Tour Edge have been making some outstanding golf clubs over the last few years, both in the woods and iron categories, and these 725s are no different. That ball flight is perfect. That was the C725, so the slightly lower spin model. I haven't changed the adjustments on these, I've just kept them as standard to test. We're of course going to jump in the studio and see what the big differences are with these clubs as well. I'm not going to lie, the sound and the feel from that 3D diamond face was absolutely delightful. You can even see that I've got it just in that little sweet spot for me, high toe centre. Now, as soon as you put the E725 down, you do see it's more elongated, it certainly looks more forgiving, and it's certainly going to fill people with a lot more confidence than the slightly lower spin, smaller headed C725. Now, if I can get the same kind of ball flight here with that same feel, that same sound, I really think this could be a driver, not just for high handicappers, but for everyone. Wow. Now, I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting more of a kind of high spin forgiving flight, but that's really put the cat amongst the pigeons for me with the first shot, because it felt fantastic, it looks fantastic, it's got 10k forgiveness, and to be honest, that's probably gone as far, if not further, than any of my fitted drivers in 2024. Let's have a chat. So just what is the story with Tour Edge at the moment? Because I've been lucky enough to test them for quite some time now and I've really enjoyed them. Like I said, they've made fantastic irons, they've made brilliant drivers, and they've been a little bit cheaper. So these two new drivers, they're going to start around $400, so what's that, around £350? Although that's not cheap, it's a lot cheaper than some of the kind of other big name brands, isn't it? Like Titleist, Callaway, Ping, and of course PXG and TaylorMade. We have the smaller headed C725 bang smack in the middle of the fairway here, and unfortunately there is a little bit of draw bias on the E725. I think it's gone towards this ditch, but I also didn't expect it to be that penetrating, that low, and that long, to be fair. Is it in here? Yes. I'm not sure I'm getting that either. And whenever I do these videos on Tour Edge products, I always like to do them kind of pound for pound, because this isn't exactly a D2C brand, this isn't a Kirkland, this isn't a Tacoma, this isn't a Cali. This is a brand with tour pedigree. This is a brand that does feature on some of the best golf professional tours in the world. In fact, these drivers were seeded on tour, and there's been lots of different integrations of these before Tour Edge came up with the final product. We'll go E725 to kick things off here. And I've already started to think, this doesn't look that bad, it doesn't look that big, it doesn't look that forgiving, to say how big it is and how forgiving it is. So, can we get that same ball flight down the centre of a rather demanding fairway? That is absolutely gorgeous. That was a little bit toey as well, and you'll see it's just that kind of low dippy ball flight if I play you that again. That is precisely what I want from a forgiving driver. Now if we go the smaller head, I'm not sure if I would have got away with that golf swing with this C725, But I'll tell you what, I've got a little bit more loft on here. This is 10.5. I feel like it's still coming out nice and low with good numbers. And that's frighteningly good. That's frozen rope, it's not moving in the air. Chris is down there on the left-hand side filming a video. Usually he'd be petrified for his life. That's come out of there. That came out of there. That is frightening. And you see, having spent some time in the studio with these drivers, I must admit that they feel fantastic. I feel like the forgiveness level is certainly there, especially with the E725. And the C725 for me feels like a little bit of a low spin bomber, which I'm sure Tour Edge will be pleased to hear. I certainly think it could go toe to toe with some of the best drivers of 2024. And moving into 2025, I can't wait to see just what they have up their sleeve when it comes to maybe some better marketing, because this could well and truly put the cat amongst the pigeons for the new driver releases early doors. And you'll see with the numbers here that the low spin model, the C725, does for me do what it says on the tin. I got a little bit more ball speed and a touch more carry. I wasn't swinging my best during this period, as you can see probably from the whole video, but for me I certainly feel like there's potentially some room here to see exactly how far they can go in 2025. And the really interesting thing is, whenever I test Tour Edge drivers, sometimes on launch monitors we don't quite see the ball speed, we don't quite see the optimum spin rate, but they're still pretty good. And then I get them out on the golf course and they're absolutely fantastic to keep a ball in play, to give you confidence, to make sure that you're hitting the fairway with quite reasonable distance for a little bit cheaper. I have to say, very well done, and hats off. I mean, I've just said I need a haircut desperately, but hats off Tour Edge. I think it's fair to say that's as close to a centerline ball as you could really want to be. That is the C725, the lower spin model. The E725 is at the left-hand side of the fairway there, and I've certainly seen that the E725 does just turn the ball over a little bit more for you. The C725 seems to almost want to play a little bit of a fade, which I quite like, to be honest. The fact that you've got the best of both worlds in both these drivers really is fantastic once again. Personally, if I had to choose one, it'd have to be... Now, when it comes to technology for these two Tour Edge drivers, the big thing is they haven't fixed something that didn't need fixing. They've tweaked them a little bit and there's plenty of technology in there. So Tour Edge claim that the C725 does feature a rear perimeter titanium ring for increased stability, but yields a lower spin flight thanks to that slightly more forward CG location. The E725 is classed as an ultra oversized driver with a deep rear sliding weight, and that sets a new standard for forgiveness for Tour Edge as a company. Both these drivers do feature the variable face thickness design that uses a diamond shape indentation through a forging process to create better flexing across the entire face. That concept utilizes 60 different shapes, and that ranges from 2.7 to 2.1 millimeters in thickness, very similar to the kind of loads of different sweet spots that Callaway do feature on their Paradigm AI Smoke, isn't it? And I do think that's a massive feature that a lot of different drivers are having now. We're having these variable face thicknesses, so you can sort of hit shots like I've hit in this video and still get pretty good results. I would personally go for the driver that I feel like I can hit more consistently and potentially hit more fairways with. That, of course, for me it's the right one actually. I was thinking they're both the same head cover, so I was thinking I was probably going to get the wrong one out. But it's the C725, it's the club with the slightly smaller head. I look down at this and it really does fill me with confidence. I can't believe some of these nice low penetrating ball flights I'm getting with a 10.5 degree head. You do of course get the adjustable hosel on here, so you can change the lie angle, you can change the loft, you can change so many different variants of this club to suit your golf game. And the fact it does feature that carbon crown, that diamond ridgeback technology, and so many other different variables, I think it feels as good as a TaylorMade, a Callaway, a PXG. It performs as good as a Titleist, a TaylorMade, a Ping, a PXG. How good is that, by the way? I honestly think this is the first driver this year where I've just stood at it. I haven't even thought about swing. I've just hit it, and then I've just hit it, and then I've just hit it again. And I would pretty much guarantee if I just hit it one more time, we should just hit the fairway one more time. Amazing. Guys, if you enjoyed that, smash that subscribe button below. That is the brand new Tour Edge Exotics C725 and E725 driver. And apart from that, I'll see you all exactly the same time tomorrow. Goodbye.